We've gotten to this point where Quantum TV, Mr. Quantum, a malicious predator, how he conducts himself. You like me or not, it's my way or the highway. It's if you don't fall in line, I come to attack. If you're not with me, you're against me. In the truest sense, censorship, not being able to take criticism, destroying YouTube itself as a platform. Yo, this must be Chicken Little Bitch because the sky is fucking falling. Let's go. We have Quantum TV versus the Actman. Really how this all started. A simple video game, Elden Ring, the infamous Elden Ring, the game that sold 12 million copies in less than a month. Mr. Quantum TV has a very fascinating Elden Ring take.
The name of the game should be called You Die.
And the Actman decides he's going to do a compilation of all of the worst takes of this game. Mr. Quantum TV just so happened to have the worst one of these opinions.
Most of your time in the open world is spent just like running around kind of aimlessly, as the game has no easy difficulty. There is nothing fun about this game for somebody who is new to the franchise. And then you look at the graphic style. It's a joke. I don't buy this game.
It's essentially got into this point where Mr. Quantum TV has harassed individuals. He said some questionable statements.
At the end of the day, go kill yourself, man.
These are all things that have essentially been shown on YouTube. It's a whole rabbit hole. The main issue with this problem is Mr. Quantum decides to submit a copyright strike to the Actman for his compilation of bad Elden Ring hot takes.
Striking down videos that do fall under fair use is a bad idea, or at least flagging them for copyright, I should say, is a bad idea. And he decided to go that route. I am going to show footage from your videos in here, a decent amount, but I'm also going to comment on them quite a bit. And I will warn you of this now, Quantum TV. You come after me and try to flag my videos, I will get a lawyer because you will be abusing the copyright system. I'm warning you now. This is fair use.
With him not only using Quantum videos, he used, again, a variety of different individuals throughout the community of Elden Ring players. Mr. Quantum TV's copyright strike got rejected. However, the Actman decided to do another video covering the hypocrisy of Mr. Quantum, and now we are seeing quite a questionable approach from YouTube. Now that Mr. Actman has submitted this second video, bolstered millions of views, Mr. Quantum then responds in such a fashion where he goes to the extent of contacting the individual's family.
I called his mother at 2:32 my time. Now, I won't say where he is, but what I will say is that's 11:32 his time. How many times did I actively ask his mother to pass me off to him? Because truth be told, I never wanted to talk to her in the first place.
Yes, is this his mother? I'm calling on behalf of Quantum TV. Your son has been making a string of really defamatory posts about things he doesn't necessarily understand, and I want to try to talk about this. Is there any way I can get in contact with him? This is an actual contact with Quantum TV. You can call me anytime. It's legit.
I'm 100% certain between adults, between creators, that at no point in time should you be reaching out to another creator's family when you could speak with them individually. Now, even if you do not like the individual's opinion, take, critique, point of view, even if they used you to be the very butt of the joke, YouTube has their own guidelines specifically where, you know, they define exactly what these issues are. I'm at a loss of how did we get to the point where Mr. Quantum was pointed out by several individuals for the things that he's done. I'm at a loss for how was he able to submit several other strikes after the first one was repealed? How was Mr. Quantum able to have his video then taken down? How has Mr. Quantum been able to publicly admit to contacting this individual's parent, admit to their own mistakes by several other individuals broadcasting their egregious acts which go against the things that YouTube itself stands for? The main issue is that you cannot flag someone, you cannot try to destroy someone else's work based on this idea of you're critiquing me and it must stop.
He admits to flagging videos where they used his content, like I am right now, without his permission.
You have a YouTuber by the name of Mischief. Steals my entire video, goes through and thinks that you smack talking is fair use.
Feeding the trolls is a bad idea, but I wouldn't consider Griffin Gaming or Mischief a troll. They were just giving harsh opinions about why they disagreed with you on Elden Ring.
Stop just saying shit's fair use because you feel like because you talked on somebody's video that gives you the right to their content. It doesn't.
That is what fair use is. Yes, there is a gray area. This right now, what I'm doing there, Quantum TV, is fair use. It's as fair use comes. Doesn't matter how much of your footage I'm using. I am adding plenty of commentary to it. This is fair use.
Everyone has an opinion, right? We're going to get to the point where if this is something that were to continue, if anyone were able to submit a copyright claim or strike based on the idea of someone else using their image, and they're able to use someone else's image, how can you play this game of devil's advocate? So I actually ended up finding a video on Quantum TV's YouTube channel. Linus lost all his credibility by his own hands. In this brief clip, which I will show, there's no image of Mr. Quantum. There's nothing that's truly transformative about this clip. So this is a brief moment where it shows the hypocrisy of Mr. Quantum by simply uploading what seems to be a meme. Your favorite reaction channels, gone. Your news essentially is gone, because we have to react to things. We have to see things for our own eyes. We have to give our perspective. We all have an opinion, which is what makes everyone on this platform so unique. So my issue here is that how can we now be using everyone's uniqueness in a negative light, but that's the one thing that brings everyone to the platform? And I think that this is a case of YouTube stepping on its own toes, simply mishandling what this situation can become. I'm perplexed because Mr. Actman, we've gotten to the point where he's received so many strikes. Mr. Quantum has been able to successfully have Mr. Actman be demonetized. A channel that is much bigger than Mr. Quantum. Not to necessarily say he is better, but someone who's been with YouTube for quite some time compared to another individual. And we're seeing David take Goliath, but David is truly Goliath. The bigger creator here is truly innocent. This is something they've done for years.
This is how it works. But you're going to try to teach everyone else who's been doing this longer than you how fair use works. Please, by all means.
How does YouTube correct the situation now? Because this is a key moment in time that's really going to dictate the future of YouTube. Because this kind of thing cannot go on. And once it starts, it doesn't stop. That's a fact. It'll always rain just a little bit before a storm comes. I could see this possibly being the beginning of the end for YouTube, but I could also see it as the moment where YouTube truly refines its system. As an avid watcher, as someone who's spent many years just listening to various creators and their opinions on the system, I think now is the time. I think this is a big enough situation where YouTube can truly make the greatest change, and it would be more creator friendly, more interaction between creators, between YouTube, between how the system can be tweaked, what needs to be fixed. We have Mr. Quantum saying, because Mr. Actman used my depictions, I will now go against him. However, you have people like CNN reacting to everyday people. Just because they're giant networks doesn't change the situation. We have two people going at it. What could stop an individual going against Apple, Google, Facebook? I mean, anybody could go for anything at this point. Your image is used on some kind of site you don't like, or your friend, or maybe someone you don't like. You could use that maliciously against them. In this case, we're mainly talking about fair use, but it's being transformative. You can still be transformative with your everyday images with your friends. So you see how that would then begin to blur the line of how copyright and fair use truly works. Even though YouTube is mainly a video sharing site where you can post, how will this then affect the rest of the world? Because if things like this aren't checked in real life, like this is an issue across any industry. It's really not just YouTube. Because if this is taken to the court of law, let's say like YouTube does sue them or something like that, or they sue YouTube and YouTube countersues if it were to fail, at that moment, how would this then change the system as a whole? Those are the things that we really have to think about. Because anyone could use your image. Be it a photographer you paid, be it your friend, be it your child. I don't like the way they transform my image. They could use me in a negative light. I'm going to send basically a cease and desist. Like, the everyday person could do that to someone else if something like this were to go to court and Mr. Quantum were to possibly reign supreme. I think this is a greater issue on YouTube as a whole that really does need to be addressed, because people make their livelihoods off of YouTube, and I'm not against people making their livelihoods only doing reactionary content, but then even content like mine. You know, I literally show images of other people, videos of other people, articles talking about individuals. So it's like, that's something that applies to me. Someone could send me a cease and desist and I wouldn't be able to do shit about it. YouTube itself as a whole would just die because the platform is practically useless at that point. Unless it's all original content, which this is quite the pivotal moment. Please share the video. Hashtag justice for the Actman. Hashtag YouTube time to fix the system. YouTube time to fix the system. Thank you for tuning in to Damage. Catch you guys in the next one.